Everybody, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Tammy Talks. So we are here today because we're going to talk Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 3, episode 16, No Holding Back. Before we get started, a huge thank you to everybody that has supported the channel by thumbsing up, leaving comments, subscribing to it. Everybody that checked out the last video, super greatly appreciated. If you are brand new here, or if you were just back by searching in my name again, go ahead and hit the subscription button. Save yourself the trouble. So the episode starts off with Marsau showing up to Melody's office because they're going to have a meeting about the comeback group. I think the comeback group is such a stupid name. It's just, there has to be something better that they can call this, this group. But they're going to meet up and have a comeback group meeting. But before that happens, Marsau and Melody have a conversation about Vanessa and Wanda and their argument at the Destiny race. So Melanie was like, it's interesting that, because Marsau was kind of saying how Wanda was in the wrong, and why would Wanda even bring up that Melody's mother might have been sleeping with someone, sleeping with a married man, or whatever the case. And Melody was like, that's interesting because, Marsau was the one that put out that rumor that he knows someone or that he himself might have seen a sex tape of Melody's mom. Which, remember, I think happened like off season, in between, I think it was like season 1 and season 2. So that was the scene we saw with Melody like running up on him before Black was even finished. So she kind of lets it go and whatever, and then everybody else comes in. So during this comeback meeting starts, Melody is looking at Martell and she's like, where are the kids? And I absolutely love how every time she sees him when they're in a collective meet group like that, when it is his time to have the kids, she asks where her kids are. We have never heard him ask. And I don't think it's her way of being like, you're being a bad father. I think it's just kind of like, oh, where are the kids at? We never hear him ask where the kids are, though. And he's like, oh, they're in your office. And she's like, here? Like right now, right in my office? So she goes to speak to her kids, and Martell made it seem like she didn't trust him, whatever. She was like, no, I'm going to always go speak to my kids. Like, and, make sure they don't tear up her office. So when she goes to speak to them, the rest of the group is having some conversation with Martell about them like moving forward. And Martell's just kind of like, I've always been in. He needs to come back group because he doesn't have a builder's license, and he needs to be, involved with people that do have that so that he can continue to make some money. So Martell still wants to be in the comeback group, and so they're trying to figure out how they're going to rework it, because now that Holt and Holt has dissolved, I think that causes the comeback group to dissolve as well. So Marcel just suggested that instead of having like an official comeback group, how about if someone is working on something and we know that it would be a good fit for like someone else in this collective, let's do that. We can just kind of work with each other on projects and still do our own thing without it all being under one big umbrella, which is what I think they should have been doing anyways. You know what I mean? Like, why make a group and then like have to go through the process of divvying out such things and then falling, you know what I mean? Like, if one person is out buying the real estate, let that person do that. Let this group build the houses on it. Let this, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they kind of always should have been, just operating separately like that. So Melody says she is not interested in doing anything with Martell, because he kind of went behind her back. Remember, he had the issue with Chris, where Chris approached Melody about building houses on the 47 acres. And Martell is lying, and he was like, no, he didn't do that. And so we see some of the bickering getting ready to start with them. I would be so uncomfortable if I was sitting in a room and a husband and a spouse and two spouses or ex-spouses are arguing the way that they constantly do. Like, I would be so uncomfortable with that. So Melody's like, Martell is saying that he didn't do that. And then Marcel was like, well, how do you know that happened? And Melody's like, because I talked, but without saying Chris's name, she's like, I talked to the person. I talked to him. I know that you said that. So Melody says she is not interested in being a part of the comeback group. She said that she wants to do what she has been doing since 2019. And I think she wanted to say operating independently. But then Martell said, what's that when you started you started to neglect the kids. So then he gets up and he like walks out and everybody is like, oh Martell, oh Martell. And I get that people can't get in between spouses, but I do feel like at some point when y'all are, y'all are in a business meeting, I think there has to be at some point where I would think that y'all would kind of be like, why don't y'all just shut the fuck up and chill? Because that's what I would do. Like, if we're trying to meet and do this, why don't they literally just sit and let them argue? So, Martell gets up, he goes in there, grabs all the kids aggressively, and it's like, let's leave. So, Marsau and them are just kind of looking at them like, we are never going to get anything accomplished if y'all keep doing this. Like, what happened to the lack of respect and stuff like that? And Melody is like, look at this man. Like, look at the type of person he is. Why do y'all want to do business with him? And she was like, I'm not saying that he's a bad father. She's like, but he lacks integrity. He lacks this, he lacks that. And I'm like, I think Melody was wrong for doing that because you have the issue with Martell. Don't try to project onto them and say that they shouldn't work with him because you have the issue with him. Because, I mean, it makes her look bad and it makes her look petty. And it's really no different than Martell going back to Chris and telling Chris, why did you call Melody to work on this project before calling me? So I think like it's really no difference. So Melody was like, why am I okay and he is not okay with it yet? And Marcel was like, because you're winning. Because if you were losing, you would be acting just like him. So then Martell calls Melody. And so then Martell calls Melody and said that Mariah, who's their oldest, is crying and he doesn't know why and he needs Melody to talk to her. So Melody was like, absolutely, bring her back. And I'm thinking, Marcel, you want full custody and you don't know what to do when your daughter is crying. You can't find out why the baby is crying. No, you don't need full custody, sir. It's just weird that he keeps throwing it in her face. He's like, because Martell doesn't really want full custody. Because if he did, he would have started the process of actually doing it. Martell just wants to get underneath her skin. So Melody, he brings the baby back, and Melody is outside waiting on her daughter. She takes her into her office, and they talk. While they're doing that, the rest of the group, they all go to Martell, and Marcel kind of gets in his ass. And he's like, you need to stop it. You constantly hit below the belt, and like it's unnecessary at this point because you're going to keep having the same rabbit hole over and over and over. Learn to internalize some of that shit. And I feel like y'all should have been told them that when they damn near ruined y'all anniversary trip. And it's not to say that Melody, because Melody really needs the same conversation, the same talking to as well. But my thing is, I don't like, Martell always, like, Melody starts a lot of these arguments too. Don't get me wrong, Melody starts a lot of these arguments, but I feel like Martell always goes one step too far and he always undercuts and hits below the belt. There was literally no reason to bring up that she neglected the kids. Like, that was petty and you did it to get a rise out of her. And whenever Martell does that, he runs away quickly because he doesn't want to hear people tell him that's bullshit, that's wrong, whatever. He's like the little kid that throws the rock and it hides his hand. Like, it's so irritating. So Melody brings her daughter back out, and it's just like a bye. I'll call you when you get home, because it's like, Melody does not want to talk to this man, but she knows she has to because she has kids. It's draining. It's draining to watch. I can just imagine how draining it is to constantly be around. So then Marsau and Maurice go to play tennis. And Marcel was saying that he will not do business with Martell until Martell is able to control himself in a setting like this, because he's not going to be apologizing for the actions and behavior of a partner. And I don't blame him. And it's kind of weird to me that Martell is even okay with carrying himself in the way that he does, knowing that he needs to be the one to team up with other people right now. And then they kind of talk about the therapy session and all that type of jazz, where it's kind of pointless to even go over it because Maurice is not going to change the way that he behaves, the way that he acts, the way that he carries himself. He is going to continually put his job first, his entrepreneurial spirit first, and Kimmie and Monster and Jalen are going to constantly take a back seat. That's like the cycle that we've seen for the past 3 years. So we have Tisha and Melody. They go to Scott Imperium to hang out with Kimmie. And Tisha asks Melody, like, what is going on with them? Like, the fighting. And Melody is like, that is literally every time we are together. Literally every time that we are together. Melody said that she only responds and that Martell starts everything. And that's simply not true. That is simply not true, because when they were at Tiffany and Lewis's baseball retirement thing, Melody started that. Melanie blatantly started that argument. Melody has started a couple of the arguments. It's just that Martell gets louder. He gets more like seemingly verbally aggressive with it. And then he always says something super undercutting that kind of gets everybody on Melody's side, because it's like, you doing a lot and you're lying, basically. So they were asking, like, how's the baby? Is she okay? And Melody said that she thinks that the energy was just off, and that's what Mariah was feeding off of. So she used the example of, if Martell would have come in and said, all right, we're getting ready to go, y'all get y'all stuff together, go tell your mama bye, then it seems like a more natural goodbye. But the way that Martell came in and aggressively picked up the kids and was like, let's go, let's go, let's go, and then sped off, yes. And I think what both Melody and Martell are kind of missing and forgetting is that kids soak up and feed off of energy. They're little sponges. So if that's like, you ever see like the videos where a mother is crying and then you see like the baby crying as well. You know what I mean? Like they're picking up on the energy that Martell was exuding in that moment. So yeah, it's gonna make them upset. One, they didn't get to tell your mama bye. And two, like, it's a lot for kids to have to go through, a divorce and going between houses. And because their parents do work a lot, they're with babysitters and family friends. And you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot to go through. And then Melody said that Mariah was just saying how it used to be both their parents' office together, and now it's just their moms. So it's just, it's a lot going on with them. So Kimmie said, what can we do in situations where, we're with y'all and stuff does escalate to the point that it does? And Melody said, stop having us together. And they looked shocked. That's what got me. Like, Kimmie and Tisha looked genuinely shocked. Like, really? Y'all can't be around each other? Look at them. Do they look like they can be around each other? No. I get, I'm sure it's hard because they are both, y'all are friends with both of them. But there just has to be some events that, all right, we'll invite Martell to this one, we'll invite Mel to the next one. Stop having them together. Stop putting them in situations where they have to be together, where they're going to ruin the event for everybody. Because that's what happens over and over and over and over. So then Melody deflects off of her, and she asks Tisha and Kimmie, are they okay after the whole text message situation? I'm not going to repeat this because the entire thing was stupid. Kimmie admits that she was being petty by some of the stuff that she said, and Tisha can never take accountability, which we know, but she can never take accountability for anything that she was doing. So instead of her just admitting, yeah, I didn't call you because I was low-key mad at you, so that was why I didn't call you like I normally do. Instead, she likes to turn it around and say, oh, well, I always text you. I always do. And it's like, just be a woman, put your big girl panties on, and admit that you were being petty in that moment. And that's why Tisha is always stuck in the same cycle of argument with people, because she can never just admit, okay, I did this. I was wrong. I was petty in this moment. She can never do that. And until she gets to the point where she can do that, she is always going to be in constant limbo with her friends. So then it turns into a conversation of back and forth with, well, we do more to support y'all. And so then Tisha, it's not about who supports who. No, it literally is, because you were trying to call her out for not supporting you. You have said in all of these arguments and stuff that we've seen between you and Kimmie that Kimmie doesn't have your back. You feel that Kimmie doesn't support you in the way that you want her to as a sister-in-law. So like, Tisha, I don't like anything about her. She gets on my nerves through and through every episode, because she continually likes to play the she likes to play like she's super naive and she's just so aloof and has no idea what's going on, but you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So then Kimmie said that, no, I'm sorry, Tisha said, well, I'll just start calling you now. And it's like, there you go with that passive aggressive like bullshit. So they do like a little group hug or whatever at the end, but you can tell by the way Kimmie was kind of side-eyeing her like, this is not over, because you're not being truthful about what you're doing. So then the last scene is Martell is meeting up with, I didn't catch the guy's name, but it's the guy that he's going to partner with who has the business license. And his friend asked him, like, so, how's the license going? Martell said that that's not a focus for him right now. And I'm thinking, well, why? How is it not a how is it not a focus? You need a builder's license, and in that way, you don't have to partner with a whole bunch of people and rely on other people to get work for you. So he was saying how he just has the books, and he just he doesn't feel like doing it. Basically, he doesn't want to do it. He wants to just keep partnering up with other people who have their builder's license, so he doesn't have to, worry about it. So Melody FaceTimes him, tells him that she needs to talk to him about something that's important. She pulls up to the building site that they're at, and she asks him, what he did last night was inappropriate. Now I thought they were talking about what happened at the meeting, but no, Melody was out on a date. And apparently Martell left his business meeting, cut his business meeting short so that he can go over and interrupt her date. He took pictures of the guy. He had video of the guy. And he started like holding up the camera and, blacked out the man's face. But he's like, oh, this is who you're cheating with? This is who you're messing with? Do better. Do better. And Melody is like, what you did was like, it's rude. I have never interrupted you. I haven't been bothering you lately. And he kept saying, yeah, well, when you found out I had a baby, you ran to social media. And it's like, Martell, what are we going through, sweetheart? What are we going through that you're still bringing up stuff that happened before and trying to ignore what you're doing now? So you really got up and went over and started asking that lady, is she out on a date? And then said the nerve of you to take him to our favorite restaurant. That's our restaurant? Melody said that is my favorite restaurant. So basically Martell is on that if I can't have you, nobody can type stuff. That's the vibe and the energy he's giving. So he's mad. He's taking jabs at the guy. So then it turns into him. Because after Melody, of course, always goes to, you should have been worried about what you were doing when we were together. I'm not your business anymore. So then it always becomes him saying that she cheated. Whenever she asks Martell for proof, to prove it, he always rubs his face and either walks away, looks away, or starts smiling because he knows he doesn't have any proof. He's just saying it because it's kind of like y'all last president syndrome, where if you say something enough times, repeatedly, people will start to believe it. So that's what he does. Says it over and over and over. And then, of course, Melody's asking him, why are you being disrespectful? You're being disrespectful for no reason. And Martell said, of course I'm gonna be disrespectful. And I'm like, oh. Martell has to grow up. You are too old for this. Y'all are divorced. You have another baby on the way. This is something that your kids will see. Your son will see the way you are talking to his mama, the way that low key stalking his mama. Like, same for Melody. Like, y'all kids are going to see this. This is crazy. But I enjoy the foolishness. So, if you have made it this far through the video, please hit the subscribe button, thumbs up the video, hop into the comments, and let's talk about it, y'all, and I will catch y'all in the next one.